Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce, making breakfast legendary.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and I'm going to give him a bit of a...
Help.
I can find... Yeah.
Bit of an assist.
Steve Hall with us this
Feel so
morning.
loved. Feel so loved.
If you'd like to text the show, you can get us on 81215. If you'd like to tweet the show, you can get us on @Frank on the radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. If you want to fax us...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we've got a...
What about Telex? I used to love that.
Yeah, Telex. What is... have we got a fax machine, Daisy?
No.
If anyone's listening wants to send us a fax machine,
Yeah, no, don't say that. We never beg for free stuff. I got some lovely blotting paper.
yes, I was listening.
But I didn't. I wouldn't say I asked for
Well,
it.
that arrived mid-show, didn't
Oh,
it? So
God.
if Romans want to deliver a fax machine as well,
But I went and got a fountain pen on the strength of the blotting paper.
You didn't.
I got the traditional cart before the
You
horse.
did not.
I did, yeah.
Chris
It's a shame
Holton
to
is-
waste that blotting paper.
Frank, Chris Holton has tweeted us and has filled in the blanks by saying, "Morning Peter, morning Richie."
Very good. Actually, the morning Richie,
Yeah.
I say it normally in an Australian accent, so it is Richie. So
Yeah.
really, it should be morning Peter, morning Jim.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it would be normally Peter West, the host, and Jim Laker, the other commentator.
Thank heavens we've cleared that up. People all
once
over
heard,
London was stiff with stress.
Yes, I once heard a Jim Laker commentary on the cricket, and there's a dog ran onto the cricket pitch, and when people used to take dogs to it, they could just run into sports grounds.
Yeah.
And it ran round a bit, and somebody tried to catch it, and they couldn't. And then eventually it sort of sat down, and he said, "Dog still on the pitch. It's lying at a sort of deepish mid-off." Fabulous.
Little cricket joke for you there.
I'll tell you what was in the paper today. This is a
What?
regular trope in the tabloids and on the telly. Which
Go on.
only today did I think, oh yeah, this is a thing, isn't it? And it's what it is. It's a scuffle in an overseas parliament.
Oh, I love that. In an ill-fitting suit.
They love it. A We never
love
have
it.
one here, do we? I can never remember a
Well,
scuffle.
and never does a good punch land. It's always like 5-year-olds fighting, but they're in suits.
Yes,
Yes.
but
So what, the Ukrainians are the best at this, obviously.
well, this was the Turks
Natch.
today, I think.
Oh, was it Turks?
It's nobody's business but the Turks.
Turks and Caicos.
But sorry.
Turks and Caicos. I believe that's an area, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's an island, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Caicos.
Yeah, the whole Caicos.
Yeah.
Is that where Mary Berry goes for a holiday? What? No,
Great
but
British Caicos.
but isn't the subtext always, oh, these people from overseas, they're not like us, are they? Look at them. Look at them. That's what they never say that, but when
No.
they show it on the news, they might, the newscaster might as well say, look at these lot.
It's sort of vestiges of the old Pathé newsreel.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they could well just go, oh, bless.
Yeah, exactly. But no, there is a sense of, because it's us, isn't it? Then there's a gap. That's what they really say.
Why do they fight so much, though?
I don't know if they vote that much. If you've got all the world's parliaments to choose, it's probably set up by the British press. It's a honey trap. They send
Well,
someone
most
in
of
there
the fights
drunk.
in the House of Commons happen in the bars where it's not televised.
Yeah, you say that, but a lot of the fights you get on the telly and stuff from overseas parliaments are from countries that don't drink alcohol.
That is
Put that
true,
in your
yeah.
pipe and smoke it. Or maybe that's what they do.
There's always a very fat man. There's always one very fat man with sort of white ice cream hair and a very ill-fitting suit throwing
Well,
a punch.
there's usually, and this adds to our view of overseas politics general. There's often people who don't have like ties on and stuff in
Yeah.
Parliament.
Yeah.
It'd be a bloke with no jacket and it's like someone's driver coming. You know, I've been outside an hour. What's going on? And
It's quite satisfying if you just heard it, if it was you watching BBC Parliament one day and you just hear Ed Balls just go, Bando!
Yes. Yes. Ed Balls, I could imagine that happening. He's got so little to lose facially.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Simon from Epping has texted us regarding fights breaking out or scuffles in Parliament, and he said fights can't happen in our Parliament. Well, anymore, that is. There are 2 red lines in the carpet. I like that he's so specific about the carpet.
Yeah.
On each side of the House, in front of the benches, 2 sword lengths and a foot. MPs are not allowed to cross these lines during debates. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, you've got previous of that manner. You've been to that crib, haven't you?
I have, but it suggests that if it got to the level where there'd be a fight, people would say, "Oh, I would like to hit him now, but it's just really insulted me, but I can't go over that red line." It's not how human beings work. Didn't Michael Heseltine once pick up the mace and start, not as in like a spray?
I find that so hot. I can't even.
What?
I find it very hot that he picked up the mace.
Yeah. Why?
I don't. I just find it quite attractive because it's quite macho and testosterone-y.
Yeah. No, he was like that though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I'll tell you what I liked
Tarzan,
about...
they called him.
What I liked about Michael Heseltine, this is one for the kids, I know you're all picturing him now. He kept the long hair, didn't he? And he had that thing that blonde hair. You rarely get blonde hair in the working classes unless they've used Sonin. But the posh people have natural blonde hair. I don't know where that comes from. A lot of the posh have natural blonde hair.
It still refers to them as the posh people.
But his eyebrows were extremely black. He looked like a lovely country house with thatch roof and a little bit of snow on the eaves. That's what he looked like, Heseltine.
Yes, but what did Alan Clark say about him? That he was working class because he bought his... He said the sort of man that buys his own furniture.
Wow.
That was his definition of being working class.
To be fair, a woman I went out with, her family bought a castle.
Yeah.
And they said, "Are you leaving the furniture?" to the people. And they said, "Well, where can we take it?" And it was like all big, like, baronial thrones and stuff like that, so... There you go. Yes, I went out with someone whose family owned a castle.
I bet her parents were thrilled. Actually, they should have been. Because you're a lovely man.
They claim that the portcullis was jammed, but I was never sure.
Was this post your success?
Yes.
It wasn't. Right, so it's not yet.
God, yes, I couldn't get into a castle in the old days. I couldn't buy my way into a castle, Steve.
Frank, we've had another text in. This is about the Saints.
I used to swim again. They used to call me Moti.
Frank.
Carry on.
Stop it. This is about the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
Frank M. and Owl the Non-Believer. Well, does that still stand for you?
More of an agnostic than a...
Okay. Half Jewish, half Catholic, this one.
Yeah.
Long-time listener, second-time contactor. Having been educated at a Catholic convent school for 5 years in Edgbaston, not far from Frank's Central Reservation.
No.
I would like to tell you that it's not just lost causes that need prayer. My old...
yes, we had an email last week about a guy went out with a woman and he lost his car keys on the beach and she prayed to St Anthony, twirled round 3 times and they appeared.
Yeah.
In mid-air, on fire. I've added a bit, obviously I've embroidered a bit. But anyway.
Live on Channel 4 with Darren Brown.
Yeah.
My old religious education teacher, a sweet, nervous Polish lady, used to pray to St Francis when a wasp always used to come in the classroom. Generally it worked, with them flying out of a nearby window. I'm a little lapsed, but I found this method preferable over the large gobby girl in my class who would squash it in a book.
Yes, I can... St Francis, of course, is always pictured like with animals all around him, so I suppose, yeah. He was a sort of a flypaper saint. Yes. The idea that they went to him. I'd have gone for the Archangel Michael and just blown it out the air. Flames. That's what kids need, you see, nowadays. They want fireworks. They don't want prayer.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
What larks you've been having with your apps, Frank, you and Charlie?
Yes, I got out during that
getting his
break.
apps out.
During the break, I didn't get my abs out. That would be terrible. I wish I could get them out. They're so deeply buried. My apps. Yeah, I got out my firework app.
Yeah. What's your other app? Your Robot One?
I've got sci-fi special effects.
Went down well with Charlie.
Oh yeah, Charlie loves that novelty childish app. Did
you download that hoping there might be some quotes from Perkins?
Oh.
No.
It could have been. They're just robots.
See, I was
29 minutes
buoyant.
has taken you to bring that up.
I was buoyant then. Buoyant in my enthusiasm. And then Steve Hall
I was trying to do it in a constructive way.
The lead overcoat is on my shoulders and I'm weighed down. No, it was. It's just. I'll play some after maybe.
I think there
Just
should
got to
be.
check the rights issues.
There should be some sci-fi. You press a button, it makes a sci-fi noise. You press another button, it says someone or something. That's one of your quotes, isn't it?
Yeah. What's he doing? Is he taunting me? I feel like
I'm trying to. This was meant entirely affectionately, and it's backfired horribly.
I feel like a spider under a magnifying glass on a hot day.
Steve, what's Perkins' last line in the whole of Doctor Who? Can you remember?
It's if the good Lord willing and the creeks don't rise.
Actually, if he'd have said that by mistake, how embarrassing.
Yeah. What was it?
Oh, I can't remember now. Text in if you can remember.
Yeah.
That's
I think
a good text
it was.
sure
good
up
to
about
meet-
it.
It's good to meet you, Doctor.
No, I know what it is. I remembered it.
And then it's
I
something
remembered it. No,
like,
let me do
and
it.
good luck. I think it might be.
No, that's a terrible line. It wouldn't be
I didn't
that.
write it. Don't look at me.
It was a job like that could change a man.
No, that wasn't the
Oh.
last line. That might be the last line that sticks in your memory. It was so beautifully delivered. The Guardian.
I hate it when an old actor goes on about his last part.
Okay. And
Anyway.
yes, I'm growing this for a part, dear. You couldn't see what I was referring to there. Thank God. But that's the kind of work I'm doing now. So,
Perkins Nights.
yeah, oh God, yeah,
I
that'd
won't be
great,
buying that DVD.
Yeah, me sort of DJing dressed as Perkins. In case you don't know, Perkins was a character I played in the popular sci-fi series Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like to throw in a footnote. It's very David Foster Wallace. So it was Valentine's Day.
It
this
was.
week. Is it all right to talk about it with you guys? No
Oh,
one's had any bad.
absolutely. It was
Absolutely.
lovely.
Here's the thing. Here is a funny thing.
Yeah.
Every year I buy Kath 12 red roses.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's not original, but it's nice. It's from the heart.
Yeah. Well, it's from
And-
the florist.
Yeah, it is from the
It's from the PA, I think you'll find.
No, it's called the Heart, the local forest. And this year, she bought me 12 as well.
Shut up.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, it's the feminists. They're rising up.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
If I'd have known we were going to take it in turns, I could have saved myself.
That's so you.
I know, but now we've got a house full of red roses.
I bet next time, Steve, he does a series of Room 101 and they say, what would you like as your end of series present? He goes, 12 red roses.
And can you refrigerate them, please?
Does it mean you've got to go 13 next time?
I'm thinking 15.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how I gamble. I want to blow her out the water. I think maybe she's done now. She won't buy them next year. I'll have gone higher. It's surprised lovely. Don't get me wrong. It was lovely. I bought her a book on running,
Oh, that's nice.
which afterwards I thought, is that all right to buy?
Yeah,
a
Is
yeah,
that a bit of a hint?
Yeah, next year a book on dieting. Can I say that absolutely is not required by my
No.
very svelte girlfriend?
Rose felt.
Svelte Joran Eriksson, that's what I call her.
That's so nice that Kath got you flowers.
Yeah, it's
I like
unusual,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there was a slight part of me that thought, has she been sent these by someone else? And she says, oh, I bought you 12 red roses just to justify the fact they were in the house.
Yeah.
Do you have to write a note? Do you write something romantic to accompany them?
You mind your own damn business. Honestly, some people, they push it too far.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I got 12.
That's so nice.
And then in the evening,
Yeah.
you know, we thought we'd
What
do
did you
some-
do? Did you go
we
for
thought-
dinner?
Well, we thought we'd do something romantic.
What did you do?
We watched Take Me Out,
Oh, lovely.
which I've never watched all the way through.
Let the penis see the colada. Love it.
He didn't say that. He said some good stuff, though. I must admit, I was very enamoured of Paddy McGuinness. I've never seen a man so at home on a TV show. He really... There was a bit where a woman said something... she said, well, you know, I wasn't... I'm not sure if I like him anyway. And he went, oh... Hashtag orcs. And I thought, that's fabulous that you've said that. I'm going to say that all the time. now.
His Let the Construct is one of my favourites.
Yes.
Did he do any that night?
Oh, he did a lot of those.
He's done Let the Chimney See the Sweep. I'm still not 100% about.
No, but he was very fine. There's one that was a little bit of a fracas between. Oh, this woman said something a bit strange, and he just started going, "What happened then? What happened then?" and it was really funny. I did so.
Was there one of the men? They always come down dancing, don't they?
I tell you what they had.
They love a dance when they come down.
They had a slightly older man.
Oh, and then it went do. Isn't that awful when all the lights go off and they're old?
Don't get me wrong. He was young. He's a lot younger than me, but I just thought this is not right.
What are we talking? 40?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Oh, how embarrassing!
But the bloke you used to see at the club. He used to stand like on his own with a pint. You used to think, just get out. Yeah, it was like that. Remember when they used to have the old people on Blind Date? They'd have an old people round. And
I turned it off when it was the old people.
I mean, come on. I mean, Blind Date's supposed to be a metaphor, not a. Anyway, deaf date they had the following week. Bedridden date. I mean, no, I didn't like those. I mean, don't get wrong, I'm all for old love, but
I'm not.
Oh, you will be.
Do you find yourself when you
I find myself? Mind your own business. I've told you. Stop prying.
Do you find yourself subconsciously working out who you would like to pick?
Can't possibly. Of course you do. I'm not subconscious. We spoke openly about who was the best looking.
Oh, did you?
Kat's very good at that, actually, because Kat has been quite jealous in the past.
Yeah, she's not too jealous anymore.
No, what does that tell you? We watched the last 25 minutes of the 2014 Miss World the other night on London Live. And she...
I loved to 1973.
Yeah. She's... you have to... She picked who she thought was the best looking, and I thought I'd pick mine. Of course, I'm of an age now, I picked Julia Morley.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I had a lovely Valentine's Day.
I had a lovely time.
Did you?
We bought each other the same book.
that
I
good?
actually that made me sick.
That's like the Red Roses thing. Is this the new
Yeah.
tradition, buy each other the same present?
Yeah, it's very nice.
You're prepared to say what the book was?
Yeah, so it's not the Kama Sutra. Or anything.
No, thank God for that.
50 Shades of Grey.
Ah, no.
It was called As You Wish, and it was the making of The Princess Bride by one of the people in it, because we both like The Princess Bride. There you go.
I don't know. What's The Princess Bride, Steve?
The Princess, a classic 1987 film. Carrie Elways, Robin Wright.
Is there anyone-
Enchanting. It's a screenplay by William
Are you
Gold.
using false names to protect Carrie Elways. That sounds like an instruction on a flat pack.
Can I be honest? These were your Central Reservation years. It was peak Central.
Is it a girl's film?
Peak
Come on,
CR.
be honest, is it a girl's film?
It's written by William Goldman.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
William Goldman.
So are most Hollywood films, as we discussed
It's got your fella
recently.
from Homeland in it as well. What's
Mandy Patinkin.
yeah, Mandy Patinkin.
You won't know him. He doesn't know anyone.
I thought
know.
were
I
you not
remember.
I thought you were a Homeland fan.
If it's not on Channel...
What?
If it's not on Channel 5,
I
you won't know.
remember her dad was the battleship man, wasn't he? I always respect an engineer, you know that.
And what about a new
Homeland.
series of Gotham coming up?
I know that, I'm very excited about that.
I've been sent some DVDs.
Have you?
Yeah, I thought I know a man or one knows.
You've been sent the DVDs, and what have I been sent? Nothing! I've got an umbrella and a Gotham PD badge. But you've been sent DVD? I cannot believe that. I'm the only person I know who really loves Gotham.
I know.
Suddenly the blotting paper seems much less impressive.
No, I can't. That'd be wrong to say that. What about this then? I was talking to my 2.5... You know that the funny things they say
Yes.
is a trope I've always been very anti until I had a child. And then when they start saying funny things, at your expense, I think
Yes.
it's kind of okay. So, I'm talking about... He's having his... I think his second ever sleepover. Because his grandpa is coming to stay.
Aw.
And so he's staying... I won't go into the details. But... I said, so, you know, your grandpa's coming and Nanny Sandra's coming. And he said, Sandra. He's 2.5.
I love that child.
I know, but I felt the whole of Birmingham quake. And I thought, this is what happens when you bring up your kids down south. He actually corrected me without a second thought. Sandra.
Oh, well done, Buzz.
That's going to be awkward, isn't it? How many times is that going to happen now? And he's already ashamed of me.
He's going to be like, Father, can you drop me here, please?
Yeah.
You have to start coaching him on different words. Toothpaste.
Yeah,
exactly. Back to birthday.
Yeah. I still think I don't say that. That one occasion when Burt Reynolds was 50.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Another thing, I'm going to do another the funny thing they say.
Yeah.
I'm just getting out of my system now. I apologise for people at home who hate this sort of stuff. But I was reading a Peppa Pig book, and the last page says, if you saw a shooting star, what would you wish for? So I said, right, if you saw a shooting star, what would you wish for? He said, wet wipes.
Do you know, I probably would as well.
There has been occasions in my life where that would have been my first wish. But,
I love a wet wipe.
yeah, they're brilliant, aren't they? Brilliant invention.
Multi-purpose.
I mean, they're...
Stylist's best friend.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they get off stains without leaving residue. From clothes, I mean.
Do they get off stains?
Yeah, they do. Let me show you sometime.
Okay, let's do it now. Can you commentate, Steve? Just to get the
Absolutely.
people out? A sort of cricket commentary, very detailed.
Morning, Ian. Morning, Richie. The wet
Comes
wash.
in with the wind blowing through his long blonde mane as he comes in from the Vauxhall Lane, and yes, he has removed that stain almost completely. But another thing I've spotted, which now you know the old nature-nurture thing, there are things
Yes.
that a child learns and things that are actually in deep in the spirit of the human being, a sort of tribal root.
Yes.
In boys in particular, I watched him the other day, and I honestly, I promise you he hasn't got this from watching his parents. I watched him, not even in an act of naughtiness, but just in a casual, he was doing something else
Yeah.
at the time, picked his nose and wiped it underneath the table. Now, underneath the table, that's something... I mean, where did that... Did cavemen do it, like, underneath... you know that sort of very furry bit at the bottom of a saber-toothed tiger? Would they have wiped their nose on there during a...
But yeah, it's like an inbuilt baby instinct, like when they check their falling mechanisms. So
But that, I would... honestly, I
love
can't
a
imagine
duplicitous
seeing
baby.
anyone do that.
Yeah.
If there's any geneticists or biologists who can help us with that...
Don't listen to our show.
No, you probably...
mad.
Has that made you paranoid that you might have been doing it and not
No, I
realised?
definitely haven't been doing it. Get that out of your head.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Steve Hall is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Diddly.
You've had a tweet this morning.
Have I? Why, I wish you'd kept that to yourself.
Well, I was scoffing at the idea of who did I say wasn't going to be
You said you
listening?
don't get people like geneticists listening to our show.
Well, it turns out you do get quite intelligent people
I knew
because
that.
we've had a tweet from somebody who says, Dave, his name is.
Dabe.
D-A-B-E.
Okay.
I hope they're marking the birthday today of Mr. W.H. Auden.
I didn't know it was his birthday.
Hashtag Q Siren.
Hashtag what?
He says hashtag Q Siren.
Q Siren. That's the wrong...
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Okay. I think...
Oh, it's the wrong... Right, it's here.
Yes, that's a bit of a...
Oh.
I don't know if that's a joke or I think
don't
it
know.
might not be. It's a bit awkward. Oh, hashtag orcs! That's what I'm boiling down. I was actually looking for the siren there, but once again I've been let down. So, yeah, I did a thesis on W.H. Auden.
Did you? Great hair.
What was the title of the thesis?
Oh, I don't remember. It's
I
been
mean,
a
I feel
long time
confident
ago.
it wasn't great hair, which is my observation.
That's
about
a
it.
long time ago. I wrote it in Sanskrit.
Yes.
It was but if anyone's any slightly interested in poetry, I recommend you read Musée de Beaux Arts, which is a poem about 3 Bruegel paintings.
Blimey.
Absolute Radio here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back down to earth. EastEnders.
Oh yes, did you watch it?
I saw about a minute of it.
Which one?
Which is more than I've... Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Because it's called #EE Live now. They made it all trendy.
Is that... Well, that's what it's actually called now?
That's what I call it.
Okay. I'll tell you what happened, and then you'll be able to identify what
Maybe you'll tell us what happened. We all saw it.
No, but the bit I saw...
Okay.
I was flicking. Me and Kath have become slightly obsessed with Cucumber. The Radio 4 drama. So we've been watching that on... anyway.
Oh, Russell T Davies.
I'm not recommending that to any young children, because it's quite grown up. But anyway, so we were flicking about, and then I landed on EastEnders. Now, it was Kat was in it, Kat Slater.
Oh, she's back.
Wearing a dress that was...
Less than a fiver.
I was a bit taken aback. I don't know. Is there a fashion term? I mean, there's many fashion terms for... Is there a dress term that you'd call post-watershed?
I'd call it knout.
Okay. It was very post-watershed, and this was at like 8 o'clock at night. I mean, it was extremely revealing on the upper areas.
Oh.
And it reminded me of the last 2 tangerines in the stocking.
That's why it's #EE Live. It's actually double E Live.
Yeah, okay, but it was. So I was quite shocked by that. But then
she's still going for the no makeup look. That one.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. She's a very attractive woman, but she grabbed Sonia. So there's 2 people who I remember from who I recognise, because they're always called. There's always called someone like Enid Wallace. Oh, that, she plays Enid Wallace in EastEnders. And I said, well, that doesn't mean anything to me. You know her. She's married to Paul Harris. You know Paul Harris in it? You know Paul Harris, who runs the watch shop. I mean, it means nothing to me.
To people like Daisy, these people are massive stars.
I know that. But so she grabbed Sonia, and she pushed her face into an enormous cake on the bar. Now, yes, in EastEnders, and I thought, has it gone a bit slapstick? And then she looked up, and I tell you what, it was. I understand it was live this week, and I've done some custard pie work in the past. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But often it doesn't really. That's what it doesn't do. It doesn't stick. So people go into a custard pie and they come out with no custard on them, and it's all a bit of a letdown. But I don't know if she's very porous, or if she's one of those women who looks like she's emerging from a seeded dandelion. You get someone very heavily fluffed. Kate wins it, I'm being told, combs her face every other day.
Size 9s?
Yeah, but she really clung to her, so it was a very good custard pie moment, and that's it. That's the first minute of EastEnders I've seen for about 10 years, and arguably the last, although I have major respect for it as a social phenomenon, but it's not my cup of tea, darling. Do you know what I mean, treacle?
I once auditioned to be on EastEnders.
Hold it!
Oh, I love it!
I think music, and then we come... Oh, I love a cliffhanger.
Humiliation. That's my bag.
I love a cliffhanger. I know, I used to personally shower Cliff Richard for a living.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
So we're talking EastEnders.
Yes.
Dramatic week in EastEnders. So I should explain. I grew up in Boreham Wood. I grew up about 30 seconds away from the EastEnders set. So from my bedroom window, you can see the backs of the building. So it's a big part of my childhood. And we used to regularly do open days where you could walk round Albert Square. They do it once, where they throw the doors open once a year.
It's a big part of your childhood. God, that makes me feel old.
Well, so we think, if you grow up in Boreham Wood, everyone has some interaction.
Supercar was a big part of my childhood. Anyway, so
I'd got Anita Dobson's autograph backstage at a Brian Cant gig.
Wow.
This is getting a bit desperate.
Great again for the kids. This was pre-May.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Brian
yeah,
May.
yeah. This is,
He
yeah,
means
this is,
Brian.
yeah.
She's got one of those. She's one of those people.
There's
who-
always a Brian with her.
There's no overlap when she smiles. You know those people who the teeth just sit on top of each other rather than overlapping. So she's,
Yeah, it's like
a
my
very-
showbiz smile when I was a child that I used to do.
It's a sort of a they shall not pass kind of a smile.
The pearly gates.
Yes.
Does that work as a teeth description?
Just move on.
I've got to be honest. I want you to get onto this audition
So I was offered. It's quite rare.
because I'm
that,
assuming you didn't get it. So
no,
I'm
no,
loving
yeah.
it
Were
already.
you Dr. Leg's nephew?
Leonard Fenton. I've mentioned him before.
Yeah, but I couldn't you see Steve as Dr. Leg's menu?
Yes!
Nephew.
It's a very different kind of EastEnders live.
Yeah,
Armin Mivers.
So carry on. What were you auditioning for?
it was a brief part. It was going to be maybe sort of 10 appearances over. But it was good.
I thought you'd be in the
10.
background talking at the bar.
Do you know what I thought he'd be doing, Frank? I thought he'd be looking at his watch at the market going, tapping it. Like Jonathan Ross's mother always does.
But in the pub, but slightly obscured by the bust of Queen Victoria. you just see the side of
And they
it.
have to come over and say, can you just take it down a bit, mate?
And I'm a terrible actor, so I hardly do any
Oh,
castings,
it's a shame.
at all over the year. That's no reflection on our management. And I walked in, and they said, "Well, obviously we've written the character as gay, but looking at you, obviously we won't make him gay." So I thought because I'm so ruggedly heterosexual.
Yeah.
That's so rude.
It's interesting that would have been a time when that would have been a compliment to a man.
Yeah.
And now you think, oh, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Am I not interesting enough?
Yeah. Well, no, it means am I not buff enough? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
The casting vote was
I'm not well dressed enough. That's actually what I think it might have been.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
Bless
probably
you.
was. Yeah. But it was delightful. The casting director was an absolutely delightful human being. We had a 15-minute chat.
Still after a part.
Oh,
Steve.
so
And
off
then-
for a part.
And then he said, "Okay, well, if you want to start the reading." And having chatted to him for 15 minutes, he cut me off after 45 seconds and went, "Right, I think that's all we need to see."
Who didn't?
Oh,
Can you remember any of your lines?
Steve.
It was lots of, when it's out of context, so it's
Yeah.
just lots of, you seen Kath? Where is she?
But I
It's
think
just
I did
kind
put
of
this out on
meaning
Twitter in the week, but
yeah.
that's all they ask on EastEnders is, have you seen Ian? No.
Yeah, they do
Have
that.
you seen
yeah.
John? That's what they just ask if you've seen people.
They do. It's a bit like a very, very melodramatic Where's Wally?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
In hashtag EE Live,
Oh, yeah.
so the big thing was, they fluffed their lines, didn't they?
Yes.
One of the
Not much,
characters...
Yes.
did they?
Not much. She said, how's Adam?
Yeah.
Instead of how's Ian? How's
And,
Adam? That's
and
the actor's name.
Yeah.
And of course, the person who fluffed that was the actress Jo Joyner, who is
Yes.
the Cockerell's colleague from Trying Again.
And Linda with a Y.
From Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great in that. I just wonder if she hadn't fluffed her lines, maybe Trying Again would have got a second series. I'm just
That
saying.
is-
I'm just saying.
Steve.
She is...
Does Alan listen to the
excellent.
podcast?
She
She's
isn't.
excellent, I
No,
think.
she's fantastic. She's really
Yeah,
great.
but do you know what? I think I was...
I wonder if she's related to Bob Joyner, who used to have a motorbike shop in the West Midlands in the 1960s and 70s.
No, of course she wasn't. Don't be ridiculous.
Well, we don't
When
know
I
that.
was watching it, can I confess something?
Go on.
I haven't committed a murder. I found it very exciting, and I was saying to... I'm going to call him my boyfriend now.
Okay.
It's been going on long enough.
That's okay.
And I did say, do you know what's making me a bit stressed? It's the idea of Frank in this. I kept thinking, I said, what would Frank be like if he had to do this live? Like, he just... Because I just kept thinking about how you wouldn't be able to stop yourself sabotaging it. You wouldn't be able to stop yourself. It's true, though, Frank. Because if someone fluffed their lines and someone said, oh, how's Adam? Instead of how's Ian, there's no way you wouldn't make a joke about that. You would not carry
Would
on
it be like
through.
the end of Tootsie?
Yeah.
He'd suddenly just start improvising.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
you would.
when I did art in the West End, the
Yeah.
two actors who I was in it with sat me down day one of rehearsal and said, "You're not going to be doing jokes for the audience and that all the time, are you?" As if I had no idea of the fourth wall.
Oh, he sounded quite actorish when he said that.
Yes, exactly. I love phrases like the fourth wall and the half. Did you make the half? Yeah. So, yeah, well, I think, yeah, you want a bit of that. I'd almost
Yes.
factor some of that in.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
prove it's live.
Yeah. And
Otherwise you wouldn't
she was
believe it.
lovely about it as well. She took it with really good grace.
Oh, now you're being nice about her. You've changed your tune.
Yeah, slagging her off 1 minute.
But the worst thing is, I love EastEnders now. I'm going to start watching
Are you a
it.
convert?
Well, that's how it's supposed to work, of course. A week of
Yeah,
live
yeah.
is supposed to drag people in, isn't it?
It's not very my brand, either, let's be honest.
No.
Daisy's a fan.
Meaning?
No, I'm just
You
saying...
mean it's her brand?
Well, she likes The Voice, and she likes X Factor.
Yeah. that's
She
true.
loves BGT.
She's with me, though, that she likes The Gift. Have you seen The Gift?
I've seen
Steve?
clips. I've seen small.
We'll come back to The Gift, because The Gift was quite
Frank,
interesting.
Daisy's
this
one
week.
of those friends, we've all got one, and she's great, because if you say, did you see that? She goes, yes! Because she saw everything.
Yes.
She's like a pensioner.
She's our normal people correspondent. We're going over now to our normal people correspondent at Absolute.
Outside of Weatherspoons.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So who do you think will win this week's Take Me Out? It's all a bit like that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You know who killed Lucy?
Bobby.
Bobby.
I don't know who
Yeah.
Bobby is, but I know he killed Lucy, who I don't know either.
I don't know who
I got
Lucy
very
is.
confused. I thought it was Bobby Ball rather than Bobby, but I thought Tommy Cannon's going to be devastated.
The truth is, you know, strangers kill each other every day. I can't get upset about it.
Yeah.
It's just what happens. Otherwise, you couldn't get
Yeah.
through life.
It's also, it's such a, that so many shows have done the Who, and in fact EastEnders has done it several times, the Who,
Yeah.
who killed that, who shot JR. I think
Yeah.
it started with Who Killed Cock Robin. That was the initial. They were trying to get.
Yes.
They were trying to drum up more interest in folk tales.
Yeah, but the confession came quite early in that.
yeah.
In that.
They really milked it last night, though.
But he killed her on Good Friday as well.
Oh, well, don't get too upset about that.
Oh, you can sympathise with that. It was Ash Wednesday this week, and I fasted and get to about 8 o'clock when you haven't eaten all day. You kill anything that moves.
Did you have hanger?
Oh, yeah, I did have hanger.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Fashion Week. Can you imagine what it's like on those fros?
Oh, yeah, God.
Fro's
Well,
the front row, by the way.
They're no strangers to a fast, though, to be
What, the
fair.
fro?
Well, just the fashion people.
Yeah, the front row.
Their life is a fast,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Life in the fast lane, that's what I should call it. I'll tell you the highlight of the whole EastEnders thing for me was, there was one of those great moments in the paper when they did a review of the programme, which included a reference to the National Grid.
Oh,
I love that.
With
when
the
they-
kettles.
Well, they didn't, because there's no breaks, of course. It's not like the cup final when you get the big surge.
Yeah.
But it was just the National Grid said, you know, that during that half hour or whatever it was, blah, blah, blah. And I love it when they bring the grid in. Ah, fabulous.
I will watch it now, though, I think, after
Are
this.
you addicted now? Is it?
Oh, that Adam, or Ian, whatever he's
But
called.
because
he's
obviously
an absolutely first-class
There's quite a lot of
actor.
backstory that you now don't know, so it's going to be sort of.
Yeah,
so
but-
Kathy coming back would be.
All right, don't rub it in, just because I've got a new pleasure in life.
Yeah, Gillian Tailford's coming back.
Yeah.
She was all right. She'd been keeping a low profile. And not for the first time.
Oh, God.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
It's lovely to be back. I've not been. This is my first one of 2015.
Well, it's lovely to have you, Steve.
We
What
love
should we talk
having you
about
here.
now?
I say, let the onion see the bargee.
Yeah. What happened then? What happened then? So what? Go on. What,
Well,
what have you
when
been
I
up
was
to?
last on before Christmas, I was just about to play the O2, and that was
yes.
and that was very exciting. And then since then, my wife's now gone back to work post maternity, so I've gone from playing the O2 to being effectively an almost full-time house husband.
Oh. Are you bringing up baby?
And
I
let
am
me-
bringing up
And I
baby.
bet you're about to say that's even more fulfilling than going really well at the O2.
It's,
Am I right?
It's a depressing experience. I wish I could be on the road again.
I like
Just
your
to keep that
honesty.
quiet in case there's any pregnant people listening.
Yeah.
Don't tell them.
It's that worrying thing we're realising there's just certain days where I don't interact with anyone other than my 7-month-old daughter. And she seems bored of me.
Yeah.
So I've sort of negotiated with the wife that we have kind of individual cultural experiences. I get a daddy day off
Oh, do you?
where I'm allowed into back out into polite society.
And what do you do with this day?
Well, I'm kind of desperate for any stimulation. So I have done various weird things. I went to a classical concert. I saw Simon Rattle
Oh, yes.
conduct some Sibelius. And,
Okay. You
and
saw
I-
Simon Rattle. It was cold in there.
And I tried so hard to enjoy it. You know,
I
I
love
was like,
that you did that with your day off. It was hardly The Hangover 2, was it? Simon Rattle.
Well, it was. I couldn't. I keep trying to like classical music, and I couldn't enjoy
What
it.
is it with classical music? What is it?
What happened there?
I have given it every chance in the world. It's had more chances than Pete Doherty in my house. And and this is what I always do. I put it on. Da, na, 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 and I think this is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to this for the rest. I'm bored. That's how
I
it
do.
always goes.
That's the experience I had watching Sibelius, and all I could hear, the lyrics in my head watching this classical music was, "What's she gonna look like with a chimney on her?" And I don't know why that entered my head.
Can I tell you what I feel, Steve? I always feel I'm about to kill someone in a film. Don't you? If the classical music comes, I think, oh my God, I'm going to have to murder someone.
I have not given up. I want to be a person who likes classical music. That's what I want to be.
You're not that type. Come on.
Too many instrumentals.
Yeah. But it's
For a
trying
start
so hard, and there are people who are loving it. People who leave and kind of go
Oh,
to
the Steve.
That's the thing I wonder. Yeah.
No, and the applause at the end.
Oh, do they applaud?
Do they?
Yeah.
They come out.
How do
and
they
then
know
they
when
come
to
out.
applaud?
There were people actually shouting "Bravo!"
Yes, I know.
and
Well,
in
that's
a
my
non-ironic,
parents.
in a
To be fair, my
non-ironic
parents
way.
are just hired out for every gig to do that.
To be honest, I was having a conversation about a TV show, and they said, "What side is it on?" And that's why they were shouting "Bravo."
I like the use of side.
Yes.
What side is it on?
No, I still say that. Don't people say that
Did you
anymore?
tape it?
But they clap, so you clap, and then the violinists all stand up, so you clap. Then the bloke goes, then he comes back. Then you have to pace yourself at a clap. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. My hands are red and stinging after applauding.
Yeah,
after
yeah.
classical
By the time they
music
get to
gig.
the oboe, you're done.
Oh, I tell you, and the thing is, by that stage, you just want to get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
Opera, funnily enough, I'm all right with, because you get like, you get a play on stage.
Yeah, there's a story.
and also there's some
I agree.
words and stuff. Okay, they're Italian, or German, but they're words, you know. But just watching someone, and I want to. So you
Yeah.
didn't get anywhere with it.
So that was a wasted bit of freedom.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I had a happier experience this week. I went to see a play. I went to see The Nether,
yes.
which is excellent.
Isn't it a bit? It's the dark world of the
It
internet.
is challenging. It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen live.
You're
but
really
it's
making the most of
brilliant.
these nights off.
Yeah. It's just anything for non-baby stuff.
Yeah.
But then leaving the theatre, I saw people losing their minds at something. People were getting very excited, and I couldn't work out why. And then emerging through this crowd of people, also leaving the theatre, was Christoph Waltz. And I lost my mind as well. He was he is one of the most. It's as if he's lit.
Is it impolite to Google?
Oh.
Was he,
No idea. Really.
No, was he...
How do you spell it?
he's an Oscar-winning actor. So.
Can I be honest, Steve? The fact that
Was,
I've had to say "was he" before his name means he's not that famous.
He was
in 12 Years a Slave, though.
No, don't think he's Hans Lander in Inglorious. I won't say that word. The Tarantino film.
Oh, yeah.
The
He's in
war
12
film.
Years a Slave as well, isn't he?
He could well be. I
Oh,
forgot.
look, hold on before we go through his CV. I've never heard of him. Is he young, attractive, old, haggard?
He's in his 40s or 50s.
Okay.
He's
People are
also
excited
He's
to
also
see
in
that.
Django Unchained. He's an Oscar-winning actor. Like he's
Yeah.
really.
I know. I mean Django Unchained.
Yeah, he's in Django Unchained. Yes. Right. Good. Yes.
This is great radio.
You've confused Django Unchained and 12 Years a Slave.
This is if
We can enjoy
if
that.
Barry Norman hosted this show.
Yeah. This is a
what it
film
would be
review
like.
show from people who've only seen a few films.
Yes.
This is the worst link we've ever done.
Christoph Waltz.
I
And
thought
people
you.
were
I thought he would
excited
be.
to see
I
him.
thought he would be right up your street. He's a fantastic actor, but I've never seen him in the flesh. He glows.
Of course
he is
you'd
the
know.
most charismatic.
After your Mr. EastEnders.
Yeah, he wouldn't fluff an audition.
He's the most charismatic.
When you say that,
I've never. Well, one of the, in terms of in the flesh, he glows from within.
Yeah.
And I've only seen him and maybe Mylene Klass are the only people I've ever seen where they just radiate charisma.
Kylie Minogue.
Is she?
what
Yes,
about Jim?
yes.
What about Jim Carrey?
Yes?
What about when I ended up in his dressing room?
Oh, really?
Anyway,
Wow.
music.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Stevie Hall is with us today.
Not Stevie.
You can text us on 8 12 15. Some have. Not as many as usual, I would say. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Abbey website.
Well, we actually do have a
Abbey Radio.
we have a tweet just in. We do get
I've
several
told you before,
tweets.
don't call me Justin.
But often they're talking about things we can't really share, like the music and certain songs being censored, etc. La Chica Irlandesa has tweeted us.
Who has?
La Chica Irlandesa.
Okay.
Does that translate as the Irish bird?
I hope so, because I haven't done a...
Hollandaise, did you
No,
say?
Irlandesa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I haven't done a check on that to see if that's try Rachmaninoff. It's so dramatic you won't get bored, Frank.
Yes.
Okay.
I was with a friend of mine once, and we were listening. We had a go at classic. We put Radio 3 on, and when it came back, the presenter said that was Rachmaninoff, and he said, well, it wasn't that bad. So I always thought it was very fun.
What about what Rick says? I should say his avatar is of Vincent van Gogh. He's obviously a cultured chap.
Okay.
And he says, in response to your, what is it with classical music comment, he says, it's great, Frank. What's your problem?
Yeah, but that's because he just has it on his no ear side.
We've also, Martin Hodder has tweeted to say, we were told classical music settles young kids. He says, my son would only settle to Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell.
You see, we did play Boz quite a lot of classical music to try and make him a sensitive, intelligent being, but it drove me up the wall.
Yeah.
But I believe me, I'm not anti. I want to like it. I'm going to try Rachmaninoff. I might have a beef roulette. No, but I want to get.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to try Rachmaninoff.
That's the point. We're not
So gonna murder
we're both in the same
someone.
situation. We've actively tried to engage with it.
So I look clever. I want to like it. I'm told that one of the myths about classical music is that you can have it on in the background. And if I bought a book called sort of like Classical 101 or something,
Right,
it was called, and yes, and the idea, he said, you just shut everything out, you sit in a room and get a real good sound system, and you absolutely have a shower in it. You don't think of anything else, do anything else. You listen to every tiny thing of it. But
the one
Did your parents ever play it?
no.
I don't mind a bit of Mahler.
Well,
that's the only.
Oh, sure.
But that's
lying. Don't start lying.
But the only reason I like that was that I recognised it as the old Castrol GTX advert.
Well, that's it, you see.
I
My
know.
dad actually did used to play Richard Torber, who was like an old tenor.
Yes.
Only a simple little melody, only for you, only for me. Anyway,
Was that your dad?
that was my dad. You can go now. I'll see you down the pot. Oh, leave it.
You've got that salt in your pocket in case anyone assaults you.
Assaults. That's where it comes from. So anyway, what's in the news this week, guys?
I wanted to talk about Andy Murray. Andy Murray's...
Specifically, or?
he's not even in the news. I'm just obsessed with him.
Oh, yes, I know.
His motivational techniques
Yes.
have been leaked.
Now, I'm always very interested in motivational techniques.
Yeah.
I was the first time I went to America. I was in Los Angeles, and there was a
I love
shop.
the way you say that.
There was a shop that just sold motivational things like posters and statues and badges and stuff. That's all it had.
That's amazing.
Really?
And I went in there and I bought. It was a little like a sort of statue of a baseball, and it said, "People who moan about the bounce of the ball are usually the ones who dropped it."
Oh.
And so I bought that. And it's
Why
still on
saying
my
that to us?
still on my desk now. So I'm all for. I'm very keen on it.
Don't say that to us. We're not ball droppers.
No, I'm not suggesting
Not
that.
since I was a teenager.
I think.
Frank.
Oh dear. I need a motivational technique.
I can only say #orcs.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We were just moving into Maury territory.
Absolutely. It's because there was a photo of the and this is next to him as he's playing.
Yes.
In Rotterdam.
Well, not as he's playing, it's by his chair.
By his chair, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't got one of those little lecterns that people have when they're doing the knowledge. That would have been get in the way, wouldn't
It's
it?
next to the Robinsons, isn't
Yeah,
it?
by the, I think on a windy day, he probably weighs it down with a banana.
They still ever have the Robinsons? No, just the Coke Zeros now, isn't
Oh,
it?
do they? They must have the Robinsons at Wembley, do they? At Wimbledon.
I like the way you looked at Charlie.
Well, I
She's
said
posh.
Charlie because
She's
a
posh, she'll
bit
know about
posh,
tennis.
She'll know.
Yeah.
It's all
She
right. She's
confirms.
okay. She's blonde. I should bite out.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah. So
Well, I
I'm going to
like
be
the-
honest about it. As a fan of the motivational, I thought it was a little bit Route 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, try your best?
Try
it's-
your
yeah.
best was one of the
Yeah.
notes.
And, and the first ones are incredibly nebulous. They get a bit more specific as they go on, but the first ones were particularly dull.
Be
Yes,
good to yourself.
Number one, yeah, be good to yourself, which sounds like a Sainsbury's Taste the Difference ad.
It does. But do your best. He actually pays someone
Yeah.
who says, "Here's my first tip, Andy.
No.
Do your best."
For-
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I can see that that would help.
What about be intense with your legs?
Be intense? There was two
I mean,
about
to
legs.
be fair, that's something you've always done, Frank.
I have.
But
I
that-
have.
the
But
image-
there was two about legs. Keep
Yeah.
your legs moving. Be intense with your legs. I mean, if he didn't have that on the side, it's the idea that he'd be standing there, balls would be flying
Yeah,
past,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
18 inches either side.
Yeah.
I can't reach that.
But it's also intense with your legs. That implies he's chatting to his legs, going, "I've never met anyone quite like you, legs. You're absolutely amazing."
I just don't know where we're going.
Yeah, but you don't need an aide de memoir
Exactly, yeah.
to
No.
move your legs at tennis. Even I knew that.
As useless as those notes were, they might as well have just had a poster next to him of a cat, and it just says "hang in there," and it's got the cat clinging to a tree.
I think he should have a Garfield saying, need more coffee.
Yes.
That's my motivational.
That's the kind of thing I mean. Do you use any motivational...
The one
Thing,
thing I
Steve?
do is before a show, I look at a picture of my baby. That is.
You are
It's-
having a laugh.
It's pathetic, but it's true. But particularly if it's a
that's
slightly
lovely.
rowdy,
With its mouth
you know-
open, thinking, I've got to feed this.
yeah. Just her, just next to some next to some shoes. Saying, need these. But just as
Really?
a particularly if it's like a really awful.
My
gig and it's-
motivation is before a show, I Google Earth West Bromwich.
For you.
Yeah.
I had to do a public speaking thing recently. And you know what I do? Little tip, which we can
Go
all
on.
do. Schedule in a nice meal afterwards somewhere with a glass of champagne. Because then I know that'll be waiting for me.
I don't think I should do that. Because I know what'll be waiting for me.
Be intense with your champagne.
Be
Waste
intense with your
ground.
champagne.
Waste Grand will be waiting
That's
for you,
what
Frank,
Ranulph
won't it?
Fiennes said to me once. Yeah, so I really thought we were going to get some fabulous insights.
Yeah.
Because they're very into all that motivational thing, the tennis players, in a way that footballers aren't.
He said, keep going for your serve. Well, it's a bit rude
Yeah.
one, isn't it?
They also said one of them was try
Hit
to be the
ball
one
over the other side of the
Yeah.
net and inside those lines was one of the things.
One was try to be the one dictating. They've obviously had to be careful with that because they can't say be a dictator.
No.
No. They can't say, what would Kim Jong-un do?
Yeah.
Which is what I would have on a motivational.
What would be the... because it's WWJD on the
Yeah,
badges
yeah.
for what would Jesus do. What would Kim Jong-un, what would that be? We'll get back for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to text him, we'll be able to work it out with a pen and paper.
Yeah. But it'd be great if one of the motivational tips was just be better than Tim Henman. Just
He's done that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, everyone's done that. I've done that, and I use a wooden racket still.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Next.
Well, Steve Hall, what
Oh,
have you
actually,
got for us?
I've actually got a piece of paper here on the desk that says "Don't say what next." It's my radio show motivation.
No.
Don't say what next. No long silences, and
Be
don't,
more intense with
Yeah.
your thorax.
yeah, no classical music stuff. Don't talk about your bomb in minute detail.
Don't mention EastEnders.
Yep.
We've had some response on the classical music front. 511 has said hearing the name Richard Torber brings back some memories. His grandmother still cries a tear when she hears "We'll gather lilacs."
We'll gather lilacs in the spring again and walk together down an English lane.
Where's he from?
Germany. Used to wear a monocle. I mean, you don't get many singers now in a monocle. Gabrielle, she had the chance, turned it down. You never see, do you, a sort of sunglass monocle?
No,
You know,
I
a
what you
shaded
mean,
monocle.
yes.
Do Reactor Rapide do a monocle? That's this morning's texting.
If they don't, I want to know why.
Is anyone from David Clulow listening?
635 has tweeted us. Hi, Frank, Emily and Steve. Speaking of Kim Jong-un, have you seen the new Do he debuted this week? Extraordinary.
No.
Have you not seen it?
What's
I've
he
not
had
seen
done?
it.
Oh, it's
Blonde.
like a telephone. It's like a sort of, you know those 1970s telephones? You know, so it's sort of rounded on both ends. Bit of a roll he's got in the middle.
Oh, I see.
He's gone for a rotary look. I think.
He's still got it going on.
Okay. Good on him.
I'm just saying I would. We all know I would.
Yeah.
I've made no secret of that.
No, he's got something about
If I
him.
wasn't spoken
I tell you what, he's
for.
got very good skin.
Oh, yeah.
Kim Jong.
Well, tell me something I don't know.
Okay. If only it was his. I think it's his uncle's.
What happened to the leg? Because there was a gammy leg, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was supposed something to do with his diabetes. It was
Cheese. He was
I've
addicted
just
to
seen that
cheese.
Daisy has just showed me a picture of Kim.
Excuse me, why is that on your Instagram? A picture of Kim Jong Un?
Yeah.
He looks like he's looking over some school railings.
Do you see what I mean about the phone?
I think they're microphones, but it really looks like he's looking over the railings for his dad to come. Oh, poor old Kim. So
excited.
shall we? Sorry.
Oh, that is a hell of a do.
Yeah, I don't know if we should just talk about photos at the. This must be on my motivation list to not do that.
Yeah.
Shall we go to the corner?
Oh, yes, okay.
Nobody puts. I can't even. Here it is.
So
Okay.
we have had an email that says, last week, no addressing, just straight into the email. Last week, Bob Dylan gave a superb speech at a tribute night for him in LA. He ended the speech with, "The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise." But no, now get out.
No.
Where did he get that from, I wonder? He also used, "I'm going to put an egg in my shoe and beat it."
That's
a possible
very
ending.
good.
Yes.
That's a great ending, isn't it?
Brilliant.
What I like is that Bob Dylan speech, which was brilliant. If anyone likes Bob Dylan, as I, he got me through my difficult teenage years, Steve, you know? I love Bob Dylan. If you love Bob Dylan, have a look at this
I had
speech.
It's
George
wonderful.
Michael,
It's a
you had
wonderful-
Bob Dylan.
Yeah, we've all got our hairy men.
Yeah.
My
And they all look like Jewish grandmothers.
Yeah, well, he did a brilliant speech, and he talked about all sorts. He talked about bad reviews that he'd had and stuff. But I think that the most severe Bob Dylan review, I bet he's never heard, and it was when Elton John said to me that. Sir Elton John said to me that Bob Dylan was the worst charades player he'd ever played with. That is so marvellous.
That's awesome.
He also singled out Joan Baez, who I think I've mentioned before. I think he should have singled out as the greatest heckler of all time. Joan Baez used to go to gigs and she used to harmonise with the singers from
Oh,
the
she did,
audience.
That's incredible.
I mean, that is. Imagine that, hearing a harmony coming up that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
If you recognise it as Joan Baez in the crowd, if you realise that it's someone...
That's
I don't
like
know,
when,
to sing
when
it.
Frank starts doing material at other comics gigs.
I've heard of people taking harmonicas to Bob Dylan gigs and joining in on the...
Really?
Yeah. Gonna be
I should say that email was from Robin Carter, which is very near to Reuben Carter, who was the Hurricane.
Oh, of
who's
course.
a subject of one of
I
Dylan's
think he
songs.
changed his name by deed poll, but he's a very lackadaisical character and didn't get it quite right.
Yeah.
He says, good enough for Bob, good enough for Frank.
Well, that's true. I've never claimed that if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise is mine. I mean, it was. I
Well,
think it was a goodbye to it on some old country.
Yeah. Well,
Like
it's
the Grand Old Opry or
It's a
something.
Hank Williams is who is. And I think Dylan in that speech gives.
Yeah,
a
but
nod
I'm
to
not
Hank Williams.
even sure it's Hank Williams. Williams.
Well, it's the song.
Fallout.
It's John. It's a Jerry Reed wrote the song, and Johnny Cash does the first popular version
Steve.
of it.
Anyway,
Dick Fiddy.
Absolute Radio. I'll remind you again.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Still in the corner.
I think we are.
Okay. I have a missive in from Layla.
If only I'd got that.
I
Now I
know.
could just go carry on.
Hi, Frank. We've stopped using teaspoons in our house. You were talking about these recently, weren't you?
What were
talking
we saying
something?
about teaspoons? I can't even
I can't remember. It will come to me.
recall.
Along the same lines as your war against time increments. Oh, no, it was
that's
related
right.
to this, the oppressive 12ths, wasn't it?
Yes.
We've decided that we will no longer rummage in the cutlery pot for teaspoons that are never where you expect them to be.
So you need a section. She needs a proper section.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
we've got.
Bit personal. Anyway, what's wrong with a normal size spoon? No one uses miniature knives or forks.
That's a good.
Thinking-
That is a good point.
It's true. Thinking of going the same way with socks. Why do they need to match? Massive praise and oh no, can't read that.
No.
Anyway,
Well,
that's from Layla.
the thing. I like the point that no one. Well, obviously children do, but the not small knives and forks. The big spoon. My first thought is the soft-boiled egg in the egg cup.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, a soldier, a toasted soldier will take out the greater part of the yolk. But
Yes.
the albumin,
Yes.
you'd struggle to get that out with
Also,
toast.
I
And you
would-
can't get a big spoon.
As someone who works in the fashion industry, the teaspoon is useful. Just from the
Yeah.
point of view of eating less.
Oh, I thought you meant to say shoehorn.
No. No, you do eat less, you see.
I'm going to put in a little argument in favour of miniature knives and forks, because a cake fork, you get little. We've got some miniature forks,
Butter knife.
or indeed a paring knife.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with, say, some vanilla pods.
Someone's middle class, Frank, in this studio.
Also, albumin, the white of the egg, once it's cooked, that's basically packing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that really an envelope?
Styrofoam.
It's an envelope element. I mean, it's the yolk you're after.
That's the good stuff.
Odd socks. Both Kath has worn odd socks ever since I've known her, and she's now got our child wearing odd socks as well. And I don't really approve. But these people, they're all right being colourful characters. How often do you see them in odd gloves?
Sorry, these people, that's your child and
Yeah.
your life partner.
But Kath will actually wear odd gloves. That's how.
I find something reassuring. Wearing paired matched socks, it's like accepting that the universe is all chaos and cruelty, but my socks match. It's a little
Can't they just
gesture
get
of
nice,
defiant hope.
Can't they get nice Homer Simpson socks like Frank?
I've got my Peppa Pig pants on, I should say. I don't like the idea of my feet looking at each other and thinking, oh, how come he gets to wear? I don't want to be looking under the table saying, I'm watching you two.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Now, we've heard an awful lot about you this week,
We have.
and a significant amount about you, Frank, but what about me? Because I did something very exciting. I think you're both going to find this, I'm going to go alluring.
You tore yourself away from EastEnders.
No, I donned full high-vis wear this week.
London Fashion Week isn't what it used to be.
Dayglow is in.
I went on a tour of the Crossrail tunnels. Are you familiar with Crossrail?
I know the name, but I don't really know,
I know
what
the
it
name,
means.
like it's some old actor.
What does it mean?
Steve, can you explain Crossrail, please?
It's the new thing. I think it's opening in 2018, and it's east to west, and it's going to open up.
Is it that one that's
routes
going to
from-
go to Birmingham really fast?
No.
That's High Speed 2.
Going to Birmingham.
God, this has become like a sort of train enthusiast. Is it steam or diesel?
It's going to be amazing. I asked the chairman, we had a slide presentation. I went with my boyfriend because he was doing, I don't know what it was, some TV thing. I don't ask questions. I just do Kate Middleton, loyal companion. And I'm a very good corporate companion. I've decided. Very good. I was very charming. I give good handshake. I sat there with them.
Oh God! Just let me just. Okay.
We had a slide presentation. They were
Yeah.
lovely. I met the chairman. I was a bit cheeky though. I worried I pushed it a bit. I didn't want to embarrass him, you know. I said...
You don't want to push him on the slide presentation.
No.
You'll go down face
well,
first.
I stood at the head of the table. I said, it's like I'm chairing the meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one laughed.
No.
I had some questions.
Are you still in high vis at the table?
Yes. High vis at the table. Oh, shall I tell you about when I put the high vis on? So I had a choice. They said, do you want inners or outers? I didn't know. I said outers sounded safer.
Yes.
The outers you put on over the jean.
I thought this was... Isn't this a nipple classification?
I put them on over the jean.
Oh, I see.
Then the big jacket. I look lovely. Big hard
Was
hat.
it orange or yellow?
Orange,
Or green?
orange,
Well,
yeah.
sometimes you get green. in
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Green. What am I, a cyclist? I'm going around the cross rails.
Okay.
I had gloves. I had glasses. I had a hard hat.
High-vis glasses. That's a bit... Timmy
Safety
Mallet.
glasses. We said, we walked through Oxford Street in the high vis. My boyfriend said, I feel like an astronaut. We felt like so special. You feel so powerful in those high vis. People don't come near you.
No?
I'm picturing this like the beginning of an adult movie. just you impossibly glamorous. But
I know I had all hair and makeup as well. I asked the chairman. I had some questions while I stopped the slide presentation for some
Did you?
questions.
Wow.
I'm sure that went down well. I said,
I can imagine the sound of your hand raising in a high vis as it went on.
my first question, how did you choose where to stop it? I think that's a good question.
I ask that to the portrait artist on the Sky Portrait Show every week.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
And how do you pick the stations? Who picks the stations?
Yeah.
Who decides where it stops?
Who pays the ferryman?
I didn't ask that.
Do you not pay it? Oh, okay.
No.
I don't know what Crossrail is, but I bet it's going to be good.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Anyway, I was wearing the high vis.
Yeah.
Before I put the high vis on, guess what I asked? I said, where's my costume? I don't think you call it that, do you?
Oh, I see. High vis costume.
And you'll be so proud of me, Frank, because they gave me an oxygen tank for if you die or something. And I said I fashioned it as a belt. Because I thought at least I'd look thin.
An oxygen tank?
It comes on a strap, so I tied it as a belt.
Wow.
Everyone had to wait for me while I did that. But anyway,
You've
Crossrail,
revolutionised the high vis industry.
Yeah.
it's going to be great. Everyone get down there. In 2018, isn't it?
I think so. I think that's when
Bit of
it's
early PR for them.
Yeah, okay. I don't suppose with people getting their tickets now.
they'll be announcing the first delays on the train in a few months' time.
How
I
dare you?
imagine.
These are my friends.
Did you get to keep the high vis?
No.
Okay. Friends, you call them. Did you watch The Gift this week?
No, I've not seen it. I've been intending to watch it. I know it's incredibly earnest
No.
because Mel Gedroych goes makeup free.
I've
So
heard,
I know that.
I've heard it keeps on giving.
Yes, it is. It's last week, Steve. I talked about the fact that if I had to do it's a program which you go and either thank or apologise to someone from your past.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be some of the kids who I bullied at school. I would go and say sorry. And then this week, a school
The
bully.
only celebrity to admit that you bullied people.
A school bully went back, and at least I got it all out of my system when I was a child. Most celebrities wait till they become adults before they do it. So I went back. This guy went back, and he actually did it. This guy had been a horrible... I mean, I was
Really?
a verbal bully. This guy had really knocked this
Right.
guy about, and obviously it was an awful,
Yeah.
awful story. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But it got to the point at the end, and this bully this kid who'd been bullied had said, I'll never forgive him. I don't mind meeting him and hearing his apology, but I tell you now, I'll never forgive him. And they meet, and the bully says, I really feel I'm terrible about it for years. Feel terrible. He said, okay, well I do forgive you. I thought I couldn't, but I do. And he sort of went, well, thanks very much. Anyway, and I thought, no, that's bullying. That's what that is. It was like, I was so ready to cry. And because it was two blokes, I suppose, from the north, it was a bit... Anyway, thanks very much. Well, I'll see you again, maybe. That was it.
You know what? No, that's tyranny of the meek, and I like it. It's revenge of the meek.
There.
Revenge of the Nerd.
Yeah. It's a show built on saying sorry. That is pretty much the most British show you could possibly have.
Yeah, but it's not like sorry, you know. sorry, I didn't know this was your seat. They don't go back. It's quite
That's
a
what
big
I'd like
thing.
to
Sorry
see.
I ruined your life.
I'd like to see people apologising for really minor things. 25 years ago, I bumped into you in a queue.
I'd like people to go back and say, you know, when I said sorry to you about, I'm withdrawing it. I realised that regret wasn't real. That'd be great. It's a really good programme if you like, you know, mawkish sentimentality and all that.
You talk about it so often.
I do,
That's
I
all we
love
talk
it.
about on this show now.
But I'll tell you now, there was an interview when Matt Baker spoke to him about bullying. Matt Baker said, actually, I was bullied at school, and that section is one of the most spectacular pieces of television I've
Really?
ever seen. There you go. iPlayer. BBC, my friends. So the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise. We'll be back again this time next week. Thank you, Steve, so much. Always a welcome addition to the show. And now both you and the audience, get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.